All right, all right, all right. Good evening, everybody. Good evening. Wherever you're chiming in from, this is the Thought Candy Podcast. The goal is to educate, motivate, inspire, and we hope we say something, that will definitely resonate within your soul. Um, I'm Mr. Millionaire Mindset.
Philly's in the building.
Philly is in the building, and we got some special guests. I gotta always have my cup right. Um,
Yes, sir.
Sipping on a little something something. It's 5 o'clock somewhere, and it's after 6 here, so I'm late.
It's 5 o'clock right
That's
here. It's
right.
5 o'clock right here, Sean. Yeah. I'm
It's
in
5 o'clock right now.
and I'm in
Yeah,
the same time zone you in, so I just want to let
got
you
you. Happy hour. Thought Candy
exactly.
Cup. It's still in the mix, y'all. We still got them flowing, right? My
Yes, we
man
do.
broke his, but that's okay. That's another story. That's another episode. It's a cardinal sin.
I think it was around
We're
five
not gonna
o'clock.
take him to jail today. We got to do this podcast. Welcome, guests. We got Miss Chris Evans in the building. We got Miss Taryn Clark in the building, and I have history with both of these lovely ladies on the line. We're gonna jump into a nice topic today, y'all. And so before we do that, little introductions here. Uh, Miss Chris Evans is family to me, blood relative, out there in the ATL, doing her
ATL.
mama thing, doing her grandma. But would you throw up the A? Hey. Um, and
You know I
oh,
can't represent the A and I'm from Chicago. Come on now, Sean. You know that.
Chi-Town girl, but she in the A.
Chi-Town is in the house.
She had an Atlanta hat on earlier, so stop playing. Anyway, that's my girl. This is one of the favorite, if not the favorite, cousins on the girl side. We chop it up at least once a week. Um, she has a lot of insight. When I was thinking about moving to Atlanta, we were excited about some business ventures, and we just pick each other's brains on a regular basis. But my financial guru, she keeps me inspired on some things, and so we're not the only ones inspiring on the podcast. And then we have the lovely Miss Taryn, Lady Z. I call her Auntie. Um, we have a great history together as entrepreneurs, as family. I've been to some events that I've been blessed to be a part of with her family, and her nephew is one of my ace booms from back in the day. We rock hard. I've been to some lovely celebrations with Taryn, and so she's a retired nurse. She is an entrepreneur. She is chilling right now. I know that's what she's doing because that retired life is a beautiful thing. So I salute you and congratulate you for that because that was some recent love that's put in your life from all of your um, dedication in the nursing field. Enough about that. Just some light intro so people know who they dealing with in here. Let's get into the topic of the day, y'all. We kind of had a pre-talk. And this one is a little more serious because we like to clown a little bit and it's good. Laughter is good for the soul, but it's a lot of serious things going on. And the topic of today is I don't look like what I've been through. If you look all of us in the face to see what's going on in our lives, you'd never know, one, black don't really crack. And so it's hard to know the struggle and the things that we go through, but just really more specifically in the health realm, when you think about certain dietary restrictions or whatever it may be that you're going through, the goal was to be a little more transparent about that today. And so when I was talking to Philly, I thought this would be a great topic. And so let's just kind of dive into that. Anyone who wants to go first, so they're not just listening to me talking, share what your challenges may be or may have been, and how you were able to take it on. If you're even still going through it, like I'll share that mine is constant, but somebody just jump on in and let me know what it is that you kind of deal with or dealing with or have dealt with, and how you basically have taken it on, how you're helping correct it, fight it, live with it, etc.
Okay, well, I'm willing to start first.
Awesome.
I probably about 15 years ago, I was diagnosed with severe anemia. And so this is kind of taking a twist from what Sean and I talked about earlier, but I wanted to share this because a lot of African American women tend to have some challenges when it comes to um, anemia. And I've even noticed and have heard just recently that a dear aunt of mine is really dealing with it um, on a more severe level. But one of the challenges that I had during that time period was I learned that I was severely iron deficient.
Oh,
And
can I stop, Crystal? Is that what anemia is? Is that what anemia is? It's the iron deficiency?
it's related to iron
Okay.
deficiency.
All right, got you.
And so, with that being said, one of the things that my primary care physician recommended was that I go through a series of iron infusions. And so he introduced me to an oncologist that had me come in on a regular basis. I think I started off going maybe like once every 2 weeks. There wasn't a significant change as far as my iron, my number count. And so one of the things that I ended up finding out was that they needed for me to start coming in more regular. Um, in addition to the fact that I needed iron, I also ended up finding out that I'm allergic to iron. So I will go in for my infusions and will have to get a dose of Benadryl. And so Sean knows just how busy my day is and how I tend to kind of get myself in situations and business ventures in which I'm a little overwhelmed. And so to get me to slow down, it takes a lot. And believe me, that was a lot. But I wanted to kind of share that with you because one of the things that I end up finding, not only are so many African American ladies affected by anemia, but I recently found out through my primary care physician is that that might be my norm. And so while my doctor had me going on a regular basis, I think at one point in time I was going maybe twice a week um, for a series of maybe 8 weeks. I'm going and I'm doing a lot of damage because a lot of times we know that the medication and various types of treatments that they provide us with tend to have some other underlying causes that may basically some caustic effects that may have you have some challenges in other areas. And so I started doing my own research. And so I want to encourage listeners to start looking into their own health and knowing that a lot of times the treatments that are out here are not necessarily for our community, and do as much research as you can to see what you need to know to educate yourself so that you're in a position to where you're not, unnecessarily undergoing treatments that may not necessarily benefit your situation. So in the long run, I end up finding out that that's my iron levels are normal for me. And after my doctor stopped treating me for iron deficiency, then I started kind of balancing out. And he started noticing that my numbers are where they needed to be as far as I was concerned. So after actually following me for the past 15 years, he finally came to the conclusion that this is just how my iron, my levels are normal for me, basically. So, I mean, that's the only really health challenge that I've had. And I look at it as a challenge. Some may say, that's not severe. But for me, that was just because of the fact that I had to undergo the infusions on a regular basis.
Got you. Yeah. Thank you for sharing that. And hopefully, someone out there that's going through the same thing is kind of taking those words to heart and, doing something about it. All right. All right. Let's keep it moving. Who else wants to jump on in?
I wanted to jump in, especially when you I went through some
You're kind of glitching. You're going in and out, Tarn.
When I was much younger, I also suffered with anemia. Uh, had to face having an iron infusion to the point where my iron was so low that they didn't even want me to fly. I needed to go out of town, and they did not want me to fly because my iron levels were so low, and I was having a lot of lightheadedness and dizziness. But the basis of it was because of heavy periods, which I had suffered through for years. And so, I was wondering if your doctors had taken the time to try to find out what the basis of your low iron levels were. Because a lot of times for African American women, being a retired OBGYN nurse, I find that a lot of times for African American women, the source of the anemia has to do with our female anatomy. And a lot of times it has to do with the menstrual cycle, suffering from fibroids and things like that. So a lot of times the doctors need to try to find out the source of the anemia before they can start trying to treat it. And if they treat the source, then that treats the secondhand issue of the anemia. And so for me, it was of treating what causing the anemia. Once they treated that, then automatically the anemia corrected itself. I did have the one iron transfusion, and then once the source of the irregular periods was correct, then that corrected itself. But another issue too, that a lot of things that sometimes medications like blood pressure medication, for one, I have high blood pressure. Right now it's been stable for over a year, but I still take blood pressure medication. But one of the medications I took, I had been taking for 5 years, which was lisinopril. And not at one time during this process of taking it was I ever told that lisinopril is a medication, and the classification is one that African Americans will have a higher chance of having a side effect. You can have what they call pulmonary edema, where you can suffer from swelling of the face, swelling all over body swelling. It can happen at any time during the process of taking it. You can be taking it for 2 weeks. You can be taking it for 2 months. You can be taking it for 2 years. It can happen at any time. And it can just happen out of nowhere for no apparent reason. All of a sudden, you can have anything from coughing. Some people get an annoying cough with it. They get like a tickle in the throat, where you get that kind of annoying tickle in the throat cough, to where all of a sudden you just had this swelling. So after 5 years, all of a sudden, I had this tickle in my throat. Then I had a scratchiness. By the time I got to work, by 9 o'clock in the morning, my lips were swollen. I mean, to the point like somebody had punched me in the mouth. And I'm thinking, I'm having a reaction to some coffee I had drinking that had cinnamon in it. So I'm thinking I'm having an allergic reaction, to the point where they had to get out of work to the outreach department, and couldn't find out it was from taking this lisinopril. Then when I get to the doctor, he says, "Oh, you're having pulmonary edema." He brings up these pictures on the screen on the computer and shows me a picture of all these non-African American people. And he said, "Oh, about 15% African American people will have a reaction to lisinopril, a certain classification of blood pressure medicine." So now it's in my chart that I can't take that classification of blood pressure medicines. Well, somebody could have told me that. Since then, I've run into, I don't know how many Black people who have had the same reaction. From men who have told me that they even have had their whole entire genitals swell up to the point where they couldn't even wear underwear from this reaction.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Big
But
Pharma is something else, y'all.
Yeah, but it's interesting that only a certain classification of people have this reaction. And it's crazy that, I mean, and it's basically like an anaphylactic reaction that you can have at any time during the process of taking it. So, things like this are important for us in our community to know. So I make it, my point that when I run into people, if I know they're on blood, from that point on, and where I worked at, when I would take patients' history, I would tell them, oh, if I saw that they were on this medication, I would let them know. Have you been told this? If not, I would let them know.
Right.
If anybody in your family is on it, they need to be aware of this. Just so that they know, because if you're not being told, these are things we need to know. If it's working, fine. If it's keeping your blood pressure down, but you still need to know.
Understand that everything that we take has a side effect to it, and the doctors are paid to push these prescriptions, and it's legal drug selling. To me, when I look at that, it's like, we're going to promote this to you. We're not going to treat it. We're not going to help you cure it. It's just management more than anything.
Right.
And that's a whole nother conversation. But a lot of these medications play into the side effects and different things of what we experience when we have these ailments or illnesses or whatever you want to call them. And so I'll go ahead and just kind of jump in and say that for a lot of people, they don't know, because it's not something that I really wanted to share. But I've seen so many issues where people are passing and different things are happening, and you never knew what someone was going through. So the reason why it hit me to think about, I don't look like what I've been going through, is because I'm diabetic, type 2. And every time I tell people that, they're like, whoa, double, whoa. I didn't know, I didn't know. Looking at you, you look so good. You lost weight. You did this, did that. Now, here's the thing. As a youngster, my metabolism was always high, and I could eat anything I want. And we take advantage of that because we think we're invincible, right? But as you start getting older and your body isn't processing food the same way, that's another topic that can go on to a whole nother subject, is the food that we consume and what's out there, and the differences between food processing and what they do here in America versus somewhere else, right? It's like night and day. FDA is a beast. Big Pharma is a beast. All it is really is about money, but we have the most obese folks in America, and diabetes is just one issue. The hypertension, the
High blood pressure.
high blood pressure, chances for heart attacks and heart failure and all that type of stuff. And so my challenge and struggle has been dealing with this diabetes, because I'm a foodie. I love to eat, and it doesn't process the same way. So it's been some lifestyle changes. I've gone like this, up and down. You see me one time, I'm a little heavier. You see me sometime else, I'm slim, because I choose to alter my diet, and it's a lifestyle thing, y'all. It's not just to fit in the next suit for an occasion or whatever, right? It has to be a lifestyle thing. And so I had a hard time accepting the fact that I was diabetic when I was pre, and like on the cusp of going into diabetes. It's like, man, I gotta beat this thing. I can fight it. I'm good. I'm pre. But then when it became, diabetes, and the numbers and stuff start going crazy, I'm like, oh man, this is crazy. So I will share with anybody out there. I went through a period of denial for a long time. I don't know if you guys felt the same way, but it was a denial phase. Like, no, this can't be me and what I'm going through. And you feel like the world is coming to an end, but you just have to adjust. And anything that I've dealt with in life, I had to pivot and figure out how to maneuver, into the next thing. Like, problems and issues are going to face us. That's just the part of becoming an adult, right? You're going to have to learn how to deal with things. I've had to change diets, and sometimes I just say the hell with it. I ain't gonna lie. I won't drink certain things. I'm really a big water fan, but I'll dilute most of the drinks that might be sugary, or I just won't drink them at all. I drink a lot of water. And then even with the liquors and stuff, certain ones are high levels of sugar. I try to stay away from them. I'm a vodka man. It used to be Hennessy and Crown and all that. And whatever I start with, I kind of stick with, but I keep light.
Hold on.
What's up?
That vodka got a little sugar in it. Got them
Oh
potatoes.
yeah, everything's got a little sugar in it. It's like crack,
I ain't say that now. I'm just saying.
I'm saying that
got that
Sugar
sugar in it.
itself is deadly. We know that,
Right.
and most people are finding that out, right? It's just as addictive as alcohol or the drugs themselves. Sugar is addictive. But in anything too much and anything that's not in moderation is bad for you anyway, right? But
Exactly.
yeah, I had a real tough time accepting that fact. And then I had to really figure out and start talking to people. And that's why I wanted to have this conversation, because I found solutions to kind of get me through it. I wasn't good with the finger pricking. It got to the point where it didn't work. So I had to get the Libre on the back of the arm thing, to measure from a little machine. The machine started tripping. So I went to my phone. And so there's always solutions for it, even to the point, you guys, of having to take insulin shots to keep my blood sugar down. All of it is like, I don't want to do it. I'm not a pill taker. I'm not a big medicine person. I like to figure out a natural way to heal and get through it, because we know your kidneys are processing all of this stuff that you're ingesting, medication, food, whatever, right? And at some point, they begin to shut down if you're not able to flush a lot of that stuff out. It's been a journey. It's been a journey, but I refuse to let it conquer me. And I've seen it chop people's limbs off and everything because they had to be amputated.
Mm-hmm.
I took that as a lesson that I didn't want that to be me. You know what I mean? You want to be around, you want to be there for your family. And so I'm encouraging my kids to not take their health for granted. Watch what you eat. Don't be eating late at night and going to sleep, because we're moving around, we're doing things, and then you eat the wrong thing and go and lay down and wonder why you got an extra little, you got the Dunlap syndrome, the belly done lapped over your
Oh,
belt.
that's the Dunlap.
Yeah,
Okay,
Dunlap.
Dunlap. Okay,
Yeah.
I got it.
So, I mean, we have enough challenges with the swellings and stuff that Taryn was talking about. That's chicken and collard greens and macaroni and cheese and all that type of stuff, right? We got that and we love it, right? The soul food for the soul. But so we don't need any medication swelling us up, because we can swell up with cakes and pies and all that type of stuff. Shout out to my auntie that make the bomb peach cobblers, Auntie June, Chi-Town represent. Yeah. Anyway, enough of my story, but yeah, that really has been a challenge for me, even to today, where I'm still working through it. And some days I'm winning, and some days I'm not, and some days I say, to hell with it. But more good days than bad days, and I stay on top of that. So keep me in your prayers. And my goal is to get off of all this stuff, but it's all centered around exercise and lifestyle. You got to regulate everything. I've never been a label reader, and now I am. I bet you. I'm looking at everything like, okay, sodium, sugar, that's too much. You know what I'm saying? So, um, diluting, dilute it. Don't even use it. Whatever.
There's a good book, Sean, called Sugar Busters.
Sugar busters.
Sugar Busters.
That sound like you're walking around kissing people. Wow, sugar.
It's a good book. It's easy to read. It's an old book. It's written by a couple of dietitians and a doctor. I
Okay.
believe all out of New Orleans, but it'll give you good insight as to how the body works in terms of diabetes, and how it may make this process easier for you,
Yeah.
because it's not all about sugar itself. And I people are
Your body processing food and stuff,
Yeah, it's also not about just eating sugar, and that's a lot of people get panicked and they think, oh my God, I can't eat a piece of candy. Oh my God, you ate a piece of candy. Oh, you drank a soda. It's really more about carbs and how your body breaks down carbs.
Because it turns into sugar, right?
So when you read the Sugar Busters, you may find that this process may be a little easier for you.
All right, the jewel of the day for any diabetics out there, Sugar Busters. Check it
Yeah.
out. Check it out.
Especially
Yes.
in a type 2.
My goal is to conquer it, though, and a lot of it revolves around just getting into a stringent workout program, exercising, because I'm always busy. but
Yeah.
physical wise, I need to beef that up, you know,
Yeah.
to break
But
down those carbs.
get into something that you can live with, because I
Yes.
think sometimes when something like this happens, or like all of a sudden we get, and I'm only speaking from like anytime I've tried to do like a weight loss program, you know, you get all into it and you're like all gung ho, and you get into it and you get all excited, but then if it's not something you think you can live with, all of a sudden eventually you'll fall off.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So if
Yeah. What I
exercise,
will say, thank you for that.
you
Thank
know,
you.
so if you get into something that you feel like you can live with. It doesn't have to be gung ho,
Yeah.
but get
Yeah.
into something you feel like you can live with long term, and just let that become a part of what you do,
Mm-hmm.
you know, and then it doesn't feel like, oh my God, I gotta do this again. I gotta do this again. You're eventually gonna begin to hate it.
Yeah, thank you for that. Because what I have learned to do is kind of find a balance, you know.
Yeah,
And sometimes I'll be on my salads and veggies and meat and stuff and low carb, and then sometimes I need a burrito with a tortilla wrapped up with everything in it, and you know, the
yeah,
rice and the pizza and the you know, and so everything in moderation. But
Everything in
it's a
moderation.
journey. It's a
yeah,
journey. And you have to understand that it has to be a lifestyle decision, not just a temporary thing, because it doesn't just go away. It takes
right,
some consistency. And
right,
so, anybody out there listening, just fight the fight, but know that it's more than likely a long term thing, and it's here. It's a
right.
mindset
So
change.
you may learn to get that burrito at Chipotle in a bowl without the tortilla, but you still got everything that you would have in the burrito, but it's in a bowl.
Shout out to Jersey Mike's. They ain't paying us, but I do the salad in a bowl.
There
I
you
mean,
go.
the sandwich in a bowl or whatever you call it, it's that same concept.
Yeah, and
Ain't the
Subway.
same without that bread. Ain't the
Yeah,
same without
but
that bread.
that bread is what's
Ain't about that bread.
that bread is
and,
swelling you up.
Oh,
Sometimes you
that.
got to go without the bread.
but,
You know,
but see, the thing
I'll
is,
do a
that bread is what
lettuce wrap burger.
turned into sugar.
I
Huh?
know. I
Bread is what
know.
was sugar.
Yeah,
So if you're doing it
absolutely,
with bread, then
absolutely.
so
Can't
there
go to
you
Jersey Mike's without getting the
but do
That's
that.
dime.
giving that extra lump on the back of your head. You got to stop that bread, man.
Yeah, you don't want that hot link back
The
of your
little
neck.
hot link, the hot, you're
Yeah.
right.
I ain't
I
got no
got it
hot
too.
links.
I'm like, hey,
I don't have no hot links.
doing
Ooh.
neck exercises and whatnot. Yeah, flip that head back. What you doing? Oh, I'm getting rid of the hot dog. Don't nobody come with no buns now. Yeah,
I know.
but
But
all
let me
right.
tell
So
you
let's.
this.
Yeah,
I know that Philly is up, but I just want to kind of interject because Tara, she pointed out something. She mentioned the book. One of the things that I can't that I can stress to everybody is to do your research. Research, read, learn your body, because your body is your body. You know, I kind of alluded to that when I was talking earlier, how it took 15 years for my physician to finally say, you know, this might be the norm for you. And I'm speaking from not from a patient, but speaking from my background. Sean knows that after I graduated from college, but I have a degree in science, I went into medical research, and I worked at the University of Arkansas Medical Science Center for some time. And one of the things that I ended up finding out was that a lot of people don't want to take time to educate themselves. You know, just like we're sitting here now, we're discussing that it's not just the alcohol, that it's the carbs and different things like that. We have to start learning what keeps our body functioning so that we can avoid some certain things. You know, when Sean reached out to me, he was like, "You think you can be a part of the podcast?" And I was like, "Sean, I don't really have any health issues." And don't get me wrong, I'm not, you know, at the top of my game physically, but one thing that I know, I'm very in tune with my body. So initially, when I was coming on here, I was gonna talk about the fact that I have some food sensitivities. I'm on a strictly gluten-free diet, and a lot of people in society, they walk around, oh, I'm gluten-free because they want to. I have to be gluten-free because I have to. And it took some time for me to understand what that meant. And anybody that knows me know that I was a bread connoisseur. Let me tell you, I can take some Wonder Bread and ball it up into a little ball, and that was good enough for me. But I had to give it all up. And it's not just the bread, because initially going into my diagnosis, I was thinking, oh, I got to give up flour. You know, that was the only thing that I could link to gluten. And it took years of me educating myself and finding out exactly what that meant and how it's affecting me. And I was telling my husband today, y'all, it's very seldom that I get what's called gluten. And so I know that we're going to talk about this at the end, but I'm called the Guru on TikTok because my goal is to educate people about, gluten sensitivity and celiac disease and different things like that. So although I've been tested and I don't have celiacs, one of the things that I do know, I still have that sensitivity to gluten. And it's a challenge. I'm here to tell you. I mean, Sean, you think that you have a challenge, and yeah, I may not have to ever go in and have something amputated, which I'm believing God that you won't either. But the way that it slows my day down when I'm affected by being exposed to it, I'm very guarded as far as my diet is concerned. And so, I mean, something as simple as someone just accidentally doing some cross contaminating. So while you're still able to go out and enjoy that burrito or Jersey Mike's, that's not my world. I'm limited to certain places that I can go, and even when I do go, I'm so paranoid that I usually take my own meal with me. So when my family is getting all dressed up, so in I live in a household full of foodies. Thank God I'm not a foodie, because let me tell you, I'm already upset over the fact that I got extra poundage and I can't eat everything that I want. You know what I'm saying? But when we get ready to go out to eat, I'm challenged. I gotta take my little lunchbox with me. So I'm listening. I'm smelling all these aromas as we're going into all these different restaurants, and I know for a fact that my reality is when I go in there, I open up that little container that I eat, and usually it's the same, the same meal that I always eat, because I have some favorite go-tos that I tend to treat myself with when we do kind of go out and what have you. So I'm saying that just to encourage you guys to be mindful. Listen to your body. When Sean mentioned that he went from the finger prick to the patch, and then then he had to start getting the injections. That was you listening to your body and saying, oh, this is what worked. It took me, even from the standpoint of the iron infusions, going back, I know Taryn kind of pointed this out. It wasn't anything related to me being a female or anything like that. They did everything, including taking everything away and out of me, to find out that that wasn't it. And so I knew for a fact that this is just me. I've been like this for some time. And of course, I'm not going to argue with the professionals, but who's better or who's more of a professional when it comes to your own health and your own body other than you? So just be mindful of that. Education is key.
Absolutely. Thank you for all that, the testimony.
Crystal,
Philly, come on.
I mean, your family knows what what you go through, correct? I mean,
oh, definitely. I'm almost, my kitchen is almost, I'll say my kitchen is 90% gluten free. If it's anything in the house that is not gluten,
okay,
it's not in my area of the kitchen. It may be in a pantry that in the area of the pantry that I just don't even, I know where the flour is. I don't even go in that area of the pantry because I'm very sensitive to it. I'm talking about, I'm strolling down my Publix grocery store aisle or Kroger's, and when I'm coming up to the bread aisle, I start smelling it and I start having reactions. So I got to be very, very careful. I'm very sensitive to it. So yeah, but my family, they're very much so aware.
Okay, and I'm pretty sure. I mean, not just immediate family, but your distant family. Your cousins, your aunts, your uncles, and things of that nature. I mean, so they're very supportive, I would assume.
Oh, they're very, very supportive.
Or they will be educated when they arrive, right?
Yeah.
All right.
Sean knows the drill.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the spirit of keeping it moving, come on, Earl, so you can close it out. And
close what out? Oh,
Close out. Yeah, we
hold
need your
on.
testimony, bro.
Testimony. So what? I don't look like what I've been through?
Don't get brand new. You've been in this conversation for the last
Well, I'm
30
letting you
minutes
guys,
plus.
I'm letting y'all know right now. Y'all three in the thought candy world out there. I'm good. I ain't been through nothing. Now,
Lies.
now to be quite honest, I'm joking with you guys. I mean, Sean is probably my closest friend, more like a brother. But this is usually what happens. I mean, Sean, I've been diagnosed with diabetes back in when I was 32 years old. So that was a shocker, but this let me digress for a quick sec because I believe what happens now, I'm not going to speak for women, for I'm not a woman, but I know for men, what we tend to do is not share a lot of what we got going on or what we go through.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? I mean, now I share things with you, Sean, because like I say, you my brother, I'm going to let you know it's not too many other people that I'll sit there and share, my health concerns and issues with, that I don't feel secure enough to sit there and let them know. But most men, we hide it, we keep it in. I mean, can you attest to this, Sean? I mean, most of the time we just go along and get along and deal with what we have to deal with.
Mm-hmm.
And I love the fact that you guys were sharing your testimonies. But yes, we all go through them. I served in the military and, just found out as of recently to me was 2018. And I served almost 35 years ago that I have PTSD. Never knew nothing about it, didn't know what it was, never shared anything. But now I understand how some of the trials and tribulations in my life has happened because of this so-called PTSD I didn't know I had. Still to this day, there's certain things that I can do and can't do, certain places I can go and can't go. Sometimes I just go off for whatever reason. I can't be in real tight, crowded places. I mean, so it's a lot of things that attributed to my life over the last 30 years because of that. And I don't have a problem sharing it with anybody because now I know. But like I was saying earlier, that a lot of times we men, we deal with it. It's a part of life. We don't get a chance to sit there and cry and complain and whine. A man don't cry. The man get up and do what needs to be done. I remember I didn't go to the hospital for a long time. If something happened to me, it wasn't until I was almost feeling to the point where I was going to sit there and possibly die that I had to go to the hospital. That's just me. I didn't believe in them. I didn't trust doctors. But now, if Sean knows, he can attest to that. Man, I'm on the phone with him daily because of all the other things that have kind of happened to me within those last 30 years. So I've been through quite a bit, and I don't have a problem sharing now. I mean, I won't share everything with everybody, but I've been through some things. But like I was saying, and Sean, you could chime in as we end it out, or you can sit there and just let me know how you feel about this, because I think, and I'm not taking anything away from women, but I think we as men just choke up and deal with it. A lot of times we think it's being weak, less of a man if we say that something is wrong, or we're not feeling right, or we're sick. Deal with it. You chime in on that?
I think we're very prideful. I won't even say private. I just say prideful because you want everybody to think that you have everything under control, and I'm supposed to be the man of the house, and that
Exactly.
you shouldn't show any emotion. You shouldn't show any weakness. You should never be at a point where you're not 100%, and that's not realistic. And we have people that are dying because they're not willing to go and get the treatment, or they find out too late because they neglect it. You were
Exactly.
blessed, and you had hands over you. You know, Mama upstairs, bless her soul. Looking down on you and making sure that you were good. You know, you had some hands of protection over you when you were being silly and not going to the doctor. You know, and then we figure out when it's too late that something's wrong and there's nothing you can do about it but ride it out. But we all know that that's not what we want to do, and so the spirit of this call was really talking to me, saying, you need to say something about this because it's not only your reality, but it's a lot of people's reality around you that don't want to admit that they're going through something. I ain't just talking about your money being tight and all that. I'm talking
That's
about
another. That's another
when
podcast.
things hurt, right? When things hurt, and nobody knows why, but you know what's going on. Or maybe you don't know what's going on because you didn't educate yourself.
Well,
But what it
let
boils
me.
down to, go
Yeah,
ahead.
let me say this. Let me chime in right quick before I forget. Uh, in the essence of everything, you may be saying this as we chime out, but let somebody know if you're sitting there trying to hold it all in, sooner or later it's gonna bust. It's
Mm-hmm.
that compression, right? You can hold only so much in before it just blows. So let someone know if you got something going on, if you need somebody to talk to. I gotta thank Tarn. Man, this is another whole subject too for the young lady that's in my life. If it wasn't me going to that birthday party, I'd be having a whole nother different discussion right now. So shout out to you and thanks for the lady that I met, that I can sit there and go through. So tell somebody, let somebody know, not just us here or the folks that's actually looking at the podcast. Let somebody know that you can confide in if you ain't got it all. If you a brother and you need somebody just to holler at, make sure you find a good friend. Make sure you find somebody you can sit there and talk to, so you can possibly get the help that you need if you need some. Go ahead,
Mm-hmm.
Sean.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
Uh,
Man, powerful topic. I don't know if you guys have any quick closing remarks, but let's go ahead and speak our last little piece, and we can always continue this in a part two. Go ahead, Ty.
one thing I thought about when Earl was talking, I think one thing that what I noticed in my profession was that I think it makes a difference when you walk into your doctor's office and you see somebody that looks like you. And I say that because when patients would come in, and I didn't have a lot of African American, during the 33 years that I worked there, I had a fair amount of African American patients. I mean, I had patients of all nationalities, but the doctor that I worked with side by side for 32 and a half years, um, he was Japanese and Irish. But he spoke Spanish. He taught himself how to speak Spanish, and he learned from the patients.
Wow.
So, and we had a fair amount of Spanish patients. And patients would ask all the time, does he speak Spanish? And the minute I would tell them yes, you would see this calmness. Those that spoke Spanish, you would see this calmness come over them. I learned a little bit of Spanish from my coworkers, a little bit, and a very small amount. Um, and those that I could not absolutely not communicate with, if they didn't bring family, I would pull in my coworkers, such as my friend that Earl met. Uh, they would communicate enough for me to get through the initial interview part, and then the doctor could communicate with them the rest of the way. But you would see a calmness come over them. But when I would have African American patients come in, the minute I would go out to call them, you would see this look on their face like there's somebody there that looks like me.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
That makes a difference.
It
I think
does.
difference in the sense that they're going to be able to relate to what I'm going through. And I think, and I want to ask you two gentlemen, does it make a difference if you have a male doctor? Does it make a difference if you have a male doctor who's African American versus a female doctor?
Wow.
I would say it could make a difference because you have other races maybe looking at stats of what they feel like you should be, height, weight, body fat, whatever the case may be. And so it may be a different situation, brother to brother or sister to brother, whatever, right? So I do agree that that can play a good role in it. I'm in a transition point because I live a lot further north than I used to. And I'm thinking about that too. Like, he don't really know my struggle. You know what I mean? We ain't the same. You got a totally different, lifestyle and values and whatever, And so, yeah, it could play a part. I do agree. I do agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
it can. No, it can. It can. I mean, I have a African American doctor, one of my specialists, and I have an Asian doctor who's a female, and I'm comfortable with both of them, very much so. And it took a while to get there, but man, they're great. So
Yeah, you have to know you ultimately. It can't be the word from them. And then I
right,
lean on the higher power too, So
yeah.
it's not all about what the doctors say because they can mislead you and send you into different things.
yeah.
Any closing remarks from you, Chris, before we shut this thing down so we don't go too far over?
Sure. Just one point in regards to something that Philly said, and that was just making sure that you let people know what's going on. From 2 points. One, we all have heard people say, I didn't even know that he or she was sick. You know, they're looking over someone's casket and saying, I didn't even know anything was wrong. Open up and let people, you never know how people can help you. I mean, just like Taryn is a nurse, and I worked in the medical profession for a number of years. Not that we're the only two, but you may even run into someone that's dealing with or battling with something that you yourself are battling with that may be able to shed some light on it. That's one of the reasons why I created. I'm not a big TikTok person, but I created a TikTok page for so that I can share my gluten free story, and journey with others, and to kind of encourage them and let them know it's not the end of the world. There's other things out there for you to eat. Another thing is that as men, it's vitally important. Philly talked about this as well. Us women, we're open, and we talk about some of the various struggles that we have. It's important that you guys, because someone may be sitting around battling with something they don't even know what's going on, and just you telling them, oh well, I'm diabetic, and these are some of the things that I deal with. Someone, it may prompt someone to say, you know what, I may need to go to the doctors and get this checked out. I'm thinking that it's nothing, yet it may potentially be something. So it's good to be open and transparent, and share your journey, because the ultimately your journey is not a death sentence. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
You may be able to help somebody else, and in the process that person may be able to help you during that same journey. You know what I'm saying? And like you said, Sean, know your body. I know my body well enough to where I knew that I've been on iron supplements for years. I'm talking about going back to when I was a teenager, and nothing had ever changed. I probably could have told them best, that's just me, you know. And so I'm grateful that I did finally find a doctor of color. It wasn't an African American doctor, but it was a doctor that was familiar with a lot of African American studies, and they brought it to my attention. So I'm grateful for that. Believe me, I'm grateful, because those sticks, they weren't nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So give out your social media handles, and Taran, if you have anything you want to share, a page that folks can visit, we're going
Okay.
to start doing that. Make sure people shout out their social media pages.
Okay. To follow me as far as my gluten-free journal, I am the Gluru. That's the glue, GLU RU on TikTok, and then on the other two platforms, I'm Chris Evans.
All right. Awesome. Miss Taran.
Um, Before I share real quick, just one quick comment, and for everybody, as a patient, always advocate for yourself.
Always
Always,
have what?
always advocate for yourself.
Okay. Yes.
Always question anything. It's okay as a patient. It is your right as a to question anything. If you want more testing, if you're questioning why a test is being done, why medication is being given, it's your right to ask. Always ask. It is your right.
Absolutely.
If you don't ask, you won't know.
Right.
My Instagram is Lady Zence. That's LADY ZENCE. I'm, more than glad to answer any questions. I don't know everything. I'm not a doctor, but I'm more than willing to answer any questions if you have any, just based on the knowledge I have and what I've experienced.
Absolutely. Absolutely. This has been a great call, you guys. I thank you for coming to the platform this evening, um, this afternoon, wherever you're at in the world, just to share this. And for those out there listening, I hope you took some great tips and value from this call. What I took from everything is so much, but some of the key points is do your research, make it a lifestyle, right? Because 9 times out of 10, you need to change what you've been doing. If it's not working and it hasn't been working, you need to change it up, right? Insanity, doing the same thing over and over, thinking you get different results. So you got to switch your game up. Talk to your family and friends and get their buy-in to help you stay healthy and to be healthy as a unit. Because we can promote a lot of unhealthy habits in life in general, right? But get around people that will give you the encouragement to stay healthy, right? Because we can be bad all by ourselves, but as a unit, I think we can be a lot stronger when, especially in your family and your household, when you get a buy-in and you don't have folks just eating Krispy Kremes every day,
Ain't nothing wrong
thinking
with
that,
a Krispy
oh,
Kreme.
that's you. No. Huh? What'd you say?
Ain't nothing wrong with a Krispy Kreme.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm just saying, ain't nothing
A
wrong with it.
Krispy Kreme, but you usually get like 12 of them in a
But they
box.
come in a dozen. What do you
Yeah,
want
yeah.
to
And
do?
you're gonna eat one or two a day, which
And
No,
they are,
they're no good after the next
keep it a
day, Sean.
stack. It ain't
The
good.
next day, you got to
I
eat
have,
them that day.
Yeah, so
Look,
you're gonna eat 12 in a day. So
no,
that's definitely,
I'll eat two. I'll eat
you
two.
better stop
Maybe,
by
maybe
the
three.
spot
Maybe
and
three.
grab you
I'll
one
eat
and keep
two.
it pushing. Yeah,
I'll eat
gotcha.
two. Maybe three. Maybe three or
Right.
four.
And
Yeah.
see, that's where we get into trouble. And so don't listen to this fool, y'all. Don't out there, thought candy
Everything
world.
in
I don't know what
moderation.
we're gonna call y'all, tea candiers or whatever. Hey, listen, don't listen to this cat. He tripping. But
Call us the candy
listen,
bars.
yeah, hey, shout out to the candy bars, right?
Hey,
Um,
exactly.
I'm gonna write
Exactly.
that down. I'm gonna write that down. But listen, we won't do name that movie
Next
today
week.
because
Next week.
we've gone into so much today that's not even necessary. And I'll say sometimes we'll do it and sometimes we won't. But I think this was a great informative conversation that people needed to hear. Somebody needed to hear these stories out there. So again, thank you for listening today. Thank you for our panel of experts that came in and shared their truth and testimony and kind of what they're doing to get through it, because we all need to do that. It's either that or you check out, and we've seen a lot of folks doing that. And so rest in peace to all of those that fought the good fight, and at some point it ends, right? And so I'm in prayer for anybody out there that's kind of suffering and not being successful with their journey. Get around the people that are going to help you, and the rest is really just prayer, because you can't take just man's opinion on what you should do for your life and your body. So be in touch with what you have going on and address it and talk to people, and don't be too prideful where it gets you to a point where there's no return. All right. So again, the goal is always to inspire, educate, and motivate people on this call. And so I hope we did that today. Thank you for chiming in. I look forward to all the comments when people chime in on the podcast once you see it, and let us know your thoughts and send it to a friend to follow us as well. All right. And we'll follow you back. Nothing but love for y'all. Thank you, panel. I love y'all, ladies. Love you, bro. We don't say that enough to our boys, but
Right.
it's all love in the most manliest fashion. And hey, I think we're done for the evening, y'all. Appreciate you.
All right, ladies. Appreciate you. Thanks for
Good
chiming in.
night.
We out.
Have a good one. Love y'all. Ain't nothing you can do about it but love us back, right?
Yes.
All right.